All right. And tell us your name again.
My name is Reedon.
Reedon. Well, thank you for being on the Bigfoot Fades podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and tell us your story whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I grew up in Colton, a small little town in between Molalla and Estacada, right at the foothills of the mountain, and the Molalla River is not far away. And I know a lot of sightings have been on the Molalla River itself, but growing up there as a kid, I've always heard stories of Bigfoot sightings from locals, and then also janitors that go up and pan for gold at my school in Colton. Rob Shaniak and others as well. And some of the stories that have stuck with me through the years is off of the Molalla River, way up the corridor towards Table Rock Wilderness. And I would assume, based off of the age of the person telling me the story, this is probably back in the 90s that his sighting had happened. And they were up the Molalla River fishing, and it was coming up on the end of daylight up there. And they're active woodsmen, so hunters. They're always up there fishing, hunting in the woods, and they were fishing off of the Molalla River, and they had heard what they thought was like a kind of a bear grunting across the river, and daylight's fading away, of course, and they can't see as well as they'd like to, but they kept hearing these grunts. So they picked up a couple rocks and started throwing them across the river in hopes to scare the bear away or just move it away, but that didn't happen. Apparently, the rocks came back at them from across the river. And so that got them real freaked out. And it was kind of a short story, but that was their experience of a Bigfoot sighting or experience, I guess.
That's pretty cool. And so you said you grew up in Colton area.
Yep. Yep. I've been in Colton for about 16 years.
What area you live in now?
We're up out Estacada, up off Divers by Promontory. So still all up in the same mountain.
Nice. Have you ever seen or heard anything else while out camping or in like wood knocking or?
Yeah, I personally have spent a decent amount of time both up Hillock Burn and the Colton side of the mountains, or the corridor, Molalla, and even the Clackamas, up the Clackamas River. And I personally have not had any Bigfoot sightings. Just a couple of times, where the hair just stands up on the back of your neck and you feel like you're being watched. Whether that's a Bigfoot or a cat or whatever it could have been. But I personally haven't. No.
And then you were saying that Molalla was the most known sightings before. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so back in high school, and I hope I remember this correctly. I had a janitor at our school, Rob Shaniak, that went up and panned for gold, and Frank Kanister, him too. They went up and panned for gold off of the Molalla River quite a bit and rode downhill mountain bikes and stuff in their younger years, and so they kind of turned me on to the Bigfoot. After their sightings and experiences, and after them telling me that, I started doing some digging. And back in this time, it would have been late 2000s, 2010, 2011. I remember doing some research on it, and I had thought that I had seen that the Molalla River was the most cited area for Bigfoot in the Northwest. Now, I don't know if that still holds true to this day or whatnot, but that's kind of what got me listening and opening up my ears to the stories of who's seen what and where. And most of the stories I've heard all have the same premise of something that sounds like a bear, and an individual trying to scare the bear off by throwing things at it or making noises, and that animal returning either the rocks that were thrown at it or the noises that were made. So
Did your dad ever have any stories or anybody else in your family?
no, my family, they don't hang out in the woods much. My dad, he just works. That's all he does is he works. And so I personally just found a love for the woods and nature, and that's where I like to spend my time when I can.
Nice. Well, if you think of any other stories in the future, we'd love to have you back on. But that was really awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully next time I will have had my own experience that I can share.
Yeah. And tell us your name one more time.
Reedon. My name is Reedon.
Reedon. Thank you, Reedon.
Thank you.